social distancing.
Hello and welcome back to our Facebook Live. Today is Friday, June 26th, and you're here with the Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth. Really excited to have you back today. Or if it's your first time, really excited to have you because we have a special guest.
Hello.
Yay, Sophia. Today we will be talking about article number 32. You have the right to be protected from work that is dangerous or might harm your health or education. It's going to be a really exciting half an hour because we have a young person who can speak to this right in the youth perspective. We've had conversations all along about how we've waited for this day for a very long time. So thank you, Sophia.
Thanks for having me. I'm already having a great time. So.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. We will pass it over to Cheryl to do her opening prayer.
Good morning. Bonjour. Kanu abiktish na kaz na meon moegan. I say miigwich ni mashomas. Miigwich ni nokamas. Miigwich kichimanatu. I say minogi jigat. Miigwich for this beautiful day. I'm so happy today's Friday because we're having our Facebook Live. I'm glad we have our special guest because this is what it's all about. We work with the youth and the children to amplify the voices of youth here in Manitoba. So that being said, I'm going to start off with the land acknowledgement. The Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth wish to acknowledge that we are located on the original lands of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the beautiful homeland of the MACY Nation. Thank you very much.
My name is John. I'm back again with the youth engagement, and I'm again happy to have our first youth ambassador joining us this week. It's very exciting. So I'll just quickly mention we're going to talk about a lot of things today. We're going to talk about the listening tour survey, and just to mention that we will be leaving links in the video description. In the comments, we'll be sharing some resources. Leave your name and you'll be entered to win some MACY swag. And if you have any questions, leave those as well, because we will make sure to get to your questions after this episode is over.
Yes, and as Sophia kind of did when she straightened up, we would just like to bring your attention to all of our awesome swag.
Beautiful.
Got rights?
Hoodies.
Yep.
So leave us a comment. Our fearless leader, Michelle, who generally adds all of our links in the comment section, is on a well-deserved vacation day today. So feel free to share any links as you see on our website and leave a comment, and maybe you'll end up with a Got Rights t-shirt.
And a pen.
If there's any left.
I got an extra one.
Oh.
Here you go.
Oh,
There
thank you.
So with that said, we'll just do a little bit of introduction. I'm going to let Sophia introduce herself and talk a little about her work here as one of our youth ambassadors. We talk a lot about our Youth Ambassador Advisory Squad. And again, I'm just so proud that we could have one here today. So without further ado, welcome Sophia, and have at her.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Sophia. I've been part of the YAAS team for a bit over a year, I think. And it's been such a good time. I highly recommend any youth out there to look into it, get familiar with it, maybe give us a little shout out so we can meet you, add you to our team. And yeah, I've met so many friends through this, and with Kathy and John and Cheryl, they've shown me like the opportunities that I can get to through being part of the YAAS team, and that's been a really good time this year. So shout out to you guys for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that said, I just want to just acknowledge all of our youth ambassadors. As Sophia said, we have a really unique group of young people who really are identifying what they need to live and thrive. So that is one of our rights. So Sophia will actually be talking a little bit about employment rights, but I'm going to pass it back to Cheryl just to do her teaching for today.
Okay, so the teaching is on Article 32. You have the right to be protected from work that is dangerous or might harm you through health or education. So my teaching is going to be a little bit different because we're talking about the end of June. We had the Aboriginal solstice, Indigenous Day, and graduation. So this year, because of COVID, things looked a little different in each of our communities. They looked different. And with phase 3 now in effect, I just want to remind people that when you're attending ceremony or whatever about in your daily travels, to please remember to stay safe. Do your safe distancing, your mask, washing of your hands continuously, because we still need to be very diligent. We have to take care of our elders. I'd like to give a shout out to our Elders Council here. We had a meeting in person, and it was very nice to visit with each and every one of our elders that had attended to meet here at the office. Some of them traveled quite a long distance. So I say thank you for that time, that gift of your presence, that gift of your knowledge, and that gift of being able to share that communication time with us. So I also got to spend time with our YAAS group outdoors for the first time. So I'm really, really excited this week because we had a lot of firsts since COVID started. We have our YAAS member, Sophia, here today, so we're very happy for that. Being able to talk about our gifts in terms of our life journey. So as you're going through your gifts of learning, whether it be education, whether it be knowledge of medicine, whether it be knowledge of ceremony, or what you're gearing yourself up to be able to sustain yourself. I'm not going to use the traditional word employment. I like to go from a decolonized perspective and say, build your gifts, build your skills, learn about yourself so that you are able to understand what you're capable of and build on those strengths. Because I'm very lucky to have a job that I don't have to put in a lot of effort, because it's what I love. I love to sew, I love to talk, I love to visit, I love to share what little bit of knowledge that I have. So for me, that's very enjoyable and passion work. So to be able to find something that you don't have to, I gotta get up and go to work in the morning, you know. So when it becomes stuff that you enjoy and there's enough of a variety, you can really go far and start to keep, because learning is a lifelong journey. So you're learning, whether it be formal education, whether it be trades or different things that you pick up, maybe a hobby, maybe it's sports, maybe it's language. We're always learning about different things. So think of yourself, and you're always putting things into you. It's all about how you build up yourself. So that's my teaching for today, to be able to understand that it is about building up yourself and learning about your identity.
I like that, because I find that, when I was a kid and 15, 16, starting in working, obviously I wasn't going to find a job that I was going to do the rest of my life. So every job I've done has led me to the point I'm at. So you're building, like you're saying, you're building those gifts no matter what job you're doing. It's leading you, and you're getting better, and you're improving the various skills that'll get you to that next job that you really love, and it's just a process. I really like that.
I would like to say that one of the best parts of my job is coming in and working with all the people, the staff, the elders, the YAAS, going into the communities, doing the community calls, traveling, but especially the elders. They give me that sense. I grew up with old people, and that's from a cultural perspective, and I miss that, because I have the few that I have left in my life. I make it a point to spend time with them. So it's a cultural connection, but it's also keeps me in balance, helps me to appreciate how precious life really is. So thanks.
Well, let's move on. Let's get right into the rights, because we have Sophia here, and I think we want to hear a lot about what she has to say about these. So the UNCRC, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, there's 42 rights. They're called articles. We call them rights as well. And we're going to cover number 32 this week. Kathy will introduce it. But it's very important to know that these rights are set. And Canada has signed on to this convention, which means they're law, right? Nothing supersedes them. There is nothing that can replace them. No right is more important than the other. All 42 youth rights are equally important. And I'll pass it to Kathy.
Yes, and with us, I just want you to notice our shirt. They say "Got Rights?" ? The answer to that is, Sophia, do you got rights?
I do. I do.
So let's talk about that rights from a work perspective. Article 32. You have the right to be protected from work that is dangerous or might harm your health and education. So we're really excited to hear what Sophia has to say about that right.
Yeah. So it's important to me because like John said, I'm just starting into the workforce. I have a lot of friends who are starting now, and there's a lot of things that are being overlooked, or as youth we don't know a lot about, so we question a lot of things and we don't know where to get that answers from, and if we even have a right to question these things. And you do. Everybody has the right to question situations where they're uncomfortable or they feel like they're being mistreated, and it's important to know where you can go when those things are happening. There's a sheet that John's going to attach later, has like the website for whenever you don't know what to do, or if you have a question about what's happening at work. It costs you nothing to get that information. It doesn't cost you anything to file a complaint or with the Human Rights Commission.
Mm-hmm.
So I highly recommend doing that if you are feeling uncomfortable or don't know what's going on. You have the right to know. So
one of the things that I think is really important for our young people, and I think Cheryl really hit the nail on that with the education and the employment piece. John talks about our young people who are just entering the workforce. So it is very important that you are aware of your rights. It's important that you are able to have open communication with your employer, with your staff members. Discrimination in the workplace is never an okay thing. Ageism, sexism, racism, those things do not belong in a workplace. Our goal here again is to amplify your voice and to support all young people to understand they have rights. So again, John talks about self-advocacy, or has talked about self-advocacy, which is exactly what Sophia is talking about. But how do we self-advocate for our rights if we don't know they exist? So again, as Sophia said, check out those resources and use those links.
So as Sophia said, there's the resources here, and I'll provide them afterwards, of course. Like she was telling me about these important phone numbers. She's telling me. I'm learning from youth here, so let's keep that in mind, that these youth are very smart. There's important phone numbers, and like Sophia was saying, but I think at the end of the day, let's keep in mind that Manitoba Advocate is here to also walk beside you. So Sophia and other advocates have had questions regarding employment. So if all else fails, you don't get any of this information, the links, just remember our phone number, 1-800-263-7146. Our advocates will help you regarding things like this and help you find those resources. So I just wanted to quickly throw that in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so often when we are in the workspace and you don't know if you're safe, because that's what our right is about, like being protected from work that's dangerous. So in those situations, ask yourself if it's something that's causing like immediate harm to you, if it's something you need to remove yourself from this situation from right away. And don't worry about what your coworkers are going to think of you, or your boss, manager. It doesn't matter. If you're unsafe, you need to get out of there and then work from there. That's where Manitoba Advocate can step in, help you. These phone numbers are great. And it's never bad to question your safety. Like, if you are unsafe, like that doesn't, you are allowed to remove yourself. And then tell somebody that you trust, somebody that's preferably not from your space of work. Often we like to confine in our coworkers and stuff, which isn't a bad thing, but just to keep it like non-biased, keep it outside of a personal interest. Go to someone you trust, like a counselor, a school teacher, someone you trust, and that can even be calling the Human Rights Commissions, because they'll know what your rights are from that point on. And then after you've told somebody about it, it's important to go back and clarify it with your boss, like why you left and why you were feeling unsafe. So that they can like make those changes for you. And if they don't, then you know whether you need to take legal action and leave the job. If you need to find a new job, if you're allowed to leave the job, you can find. You can kind of learn those things as you go, and have that support with you if you feel like you need it.
So if you don't know if you're safe, then it's good to ask about it. It's, I guess, what you're saying then. Okay. Yeah.
It's actually bringing up a conversation I recall that we had probably months and months ago, but we talked about, when you talked about imminent safety and risk, telling someone. One of the things that we really focus on here with our youth ambassador team is really making sure that we have a support system, that we're connected to people outside of our place of business, outside of our education, outside of our work, peers, friends, adult supports. So when Sophia talks about protection from harm and being able to say things, that can be really difficult sometimes. It can be extremely difficult, and oftentimes you may be feeling a certain way in your place of employment where you can't put a name on the feeling you're feeling, right? So what is safety? When we talk about imminent risk or harm, any physical, that's, again, remove yourself. But what about emotional and mental, right? And what about the idea that as a young person entering into the workplace, you have the right to really have the adults around you make sure you're protected. So even with that, your employer really does have a responsibility to make sure that you are safe and protected, and that does not always just mean physical safety. It means mental and emotional. And I say this because oftentimes in workplaces we find ageism is happening, or sexism, or the awful word of racism. Our young people today are beginning to acknowledge and recognize and use their voice. So thank you, Sophia, because essentially that is just what you wrapped it up into, right?
So Sophia, do you have any suggestions, or maybe even just some examples of what youth can look for, just to give them, that spidey sense if they get that tingling? What are some things that maybe a youth might experience where there might be something off or might be wrong? Do you have any examples or any ideas?
Yeah, so to that I'd say, don't overthink it too much. If your gut's telling you that you're being mistreated, or if you just feel like it's off, go with that gut feeling. That's, if you're feeling comfortable, you shouldn't be at work. That's supposed to be a safe place for you. So examples of that could be coworkers making racist remarks, or belittling you, commenting on your age, and saying, or something that I've experienced was getting pat on the head, and those are all very demeaning behaviors from older people that that shouldn't be happening at work. So whenever you're feeling that sort of this is wrong, that's probably a good indication of you need to find some help for that.
So what about clothing? You and I kind of had a quick discussion about that.
Yeah, so sometimes your employer will tell you, hey, this is what we're this is the requirement for working here, and if it's making you uncomfortable, again, if it's making you uncomfortable, it's wrong. But some restaurants will suggest a little bit more of a showy outfit, and if that's not something you're comfortable with, you have the right to say you don't want to wear that, and that goes with certain clothing items that I don't know how to say it right, but from a religious perspective, sometimes you want to wear maybe a headdress or any type of clothing at work. They don't have the right to tell you you can't wear that because it's not part of the dress code. So I think that's important to highlight. If that's
and I guess
and some examples from a dangerous perspective on trades, you have to have safety equipment that meets standard code. They have on-site officers, and they have that safety work that everybody has to pass.
There is
different types of
a link that's for safemanitoba.com that Sophia wanted to share, and it was we were actually talking about, Sophia. So there's the workers, young workers safe certificate. We kind of talked about.
That's right.
So do you know what that is, or
Yeah.
can you tell the youth kind of what that's about?
So, to start off, no child under the age of 13 should be working. If you're a youth that's under 13, nobody should be employing you. And if you're 13 or over, up until the age of 15, you need to pass the what was the name?
Young Workers Safe Work Certificate.
Readiness certificate. Yeah.
And you could obtain that online.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it online, and if you don't have access to online, you can phone in and they'll send you a physical copy that you can just send back to them. And that's important to do because it provides training for you, so you know what's appropriate for you to do in a workplace, but also provides your employer with information that they should already know, just to refresh their memory, I guess, in case they're overstepping. Because anyone between ages 13 to 15, you shouldn't be working from 12 p.m. to 6 a.m. Those hours are for you to be at home, to be sleeping. And there's a list of places you can't work if you're those ages, and that's a construction site, industrial or manufacturing process, drilling or service rigs, scaffolds or swing stages, pruning, repairing, maintaining, or removing trees or shrubs, any height that's over 1.5 meters, any herbicides or pesticides, and without direct adult supervision. So those are things that are off limits for anyone that's between 13 and 15.
Wow.
Cool.
So it is exciting to get your first job, right?
Yeah.
We've all. I remember mine. My first job was at the Winnipeg Arena when it wasn't downtown. So yeah, you can do the math. Yeah, but I mean, it was exciting. But I think for me as an adult now, trying to support young people to become employed. I started my work when I was 14. There's nothing dangerous about it, but it was a different. It was really a different time then. Took the bus halfway across the city, right? Nowadays at 14, my 14-year-old, he'll probably get a job when he's 16. But again, my hope is that employers out there really are understanding that, again, I cannot stress it enough, our children are gifts. So even at 18, if you have the opportunity to be their first mentor in their first place of paid employment, what an awesome privilege for you, but what a huge responsibility. So again, as the adults, we really need to look at how do we support our young people to do the work that is safe, to make sure they're protected. So I don't know that we have a lot of employers out there that are watching our feed, but if we do, thank you for hiring our young people. And really, you have a huge responsibility to drive that young person's first foray into the workforce. How exciting for you. That's it. I'm done with that.
My turn?
It is your turn.
Oh, so I've been just busting to tell you some Cliff Clavin information. So this stuck with me in my 6 years of education, that after you receive your formalized education, what do you think the percentage of the people that actually have that percentage of education? Say if I had an education degree, how many, like in the particular degrees that you work in is not necessarily where you will work. So your education might not match, but what I said earlier about the skill set being able to put you in. So mine has always been working with children. So I've worked in mental health, I've worked in child welfare, I've worked in education, I've worked in a hospital setting. So it's always been around, the common denominator of all my summary of jobs has always been in the child, in working for that child, amplifying the voice, working with that child to understand how better can we help them to have a better future. So that was my little tidbit there. The other tidbit I have is that in terms of medicine picking, the the medicine is getting ready, so I sure hope to be out seeing. I go out every night and I scout and I plan and I look, and just to keep an eye on where the medicines are. Last night I came across the bog of 67, from number 8 to 67, and came across quite a storm. On my Facebook page, I posted a picture of a sideways funnel cloud that really, I had to stop and offer tobacco and pray really hard that I was going to get home alive.
I have faith our beautiful bushwoman will always be able to
So it was
outrun
a
the
really
hurricane.
good experience and a reminder that if you have skills and you don't use them, what are they? They're just sitting there dormant. So all your skills that you have, that faith, that identity, your ability to have good intentions, use them. So when you're out and about, say hi, pick that medicine when it's ready, but also make sure that tobacco's offered. So I say, miigwech, have a good day, have a good week.
So those that leads us to our. We want to congratulate once again the grads of 2020.
Yes.
So that kind of leads in.
Happy COVID 2020 graduates.
Isabel, our youth ambassador today, has her convocation she's excited about.
Go Isabel!
And I think, Cheryl, your message is important for these grads that are now getting to the next step of their lives as well, right?
That's right. You have so much opportunity to proceed in a way, whether it's formal education, right into a job, looking at your lifelong career of learning. We all learn in various ways, whether we're having children, working with children, being children. The youth are very gifted in being able to help that next phase of life. Oh, I wish I was a child again. I'm getting older.
I would definitely not want to be one in this day and age, but I appreciate the ones we do have. They will mobilize change and make sure that everybody's rights are met.
And you still have the right to play. So.
That's
Yes.
right. I surround myself with good people that like to play in a child setting, and they keep us young. As stressful as COVID has been, I've been surrounded by beautiful gifts, because children are a gift from the Creator. They are a sacred gift that are borrowed to us. We never own our children. We are just borrowed them long enough to be able to learn how beautiful life is.
So look at this picture that we got from one of our advocates is Mother Duck, and I believe she has about, I want to say about 6 or 7 children with her, or maybe 8. I can't see it from here, but talk about a gift, right? This is one of our advocates just happened to be upon this, and just wanted to share this picture. We've been sharing pictures every week.
Those little baby ducks are so cute.
Reminds you to
Little baby
appreciate.
ducklings.
To replace the dogs.
So, real quick, before we run out of time, I want to mention the listening tour that had to be halted. But what we've done is we have this online survey. The link is on the screen here, and we'll provide the link in the comments section as well. And it's very important. We need youth to fill this out. We've had quite a good response. And it's about and then Sophia, we've asked you, how do you change things, and what problems are facing youth nowadays? And that's kind of what this survey is. It's basically just taking 5 or 10 minutes with a chance to win a
Mini iPad.
Right.
And we want a bunch of replies because we want to hear as many youth voices as we can about what problems they're facing, what things are going right, and then also the biggest thing I think is, again, we keep coming to Sophia and our other youth ambassadors every week asking, how do we solve this? Because as adults, we like to pretend we know, but we really don't,
And
right?
as youth, we don't feel like when you come to us with questions, it's oh, I didn't know that. I have I'm able to answer this. But just looking back at what's been going on in your life, and in spaces where you feel like something's missing. So, and those are things we talk about, and that's what's on the survey. And I actually looked at the survey the other day, and it makes you think, but it's a good makes you reflect on what's kind of been going on. But it's really quick and easy to do, and I recommend all of you filling that out.
I'm going to sweeten the pot. In addition to the mini iPad, I am going to add John's pen.
It's hiding right now.
So I'll get it before the end of the survey. But just wanted to thank you for joining us on this wonderful Friday. Happy Friday. It's beautiful weather. Take some time. Get outside. please, as we do every week, never hesitate to call. If you're erring on the side of caution, you just have a question, just call. 1-800-263-7146. Our office is located at 346 Portage Avenue here in Winnipeg. And in Thompson, we have an office in the City Centre Mall. So please never hesitate to call. Go enjoy this beautiful weather, and special thanks to Sophia.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. And a happy Canada Day on July the 1st, because it's coming up and we'll have passed it.
Oh, we'll pass the
So I'm saying an early happy Canada Day to each and every one of Canadians.
And I will second that. Happy Canada Day.
Yeah.
And I just want to say thank you, Sophia, again.
Yes, thank you, Sophia.
Hopefully you'll join us again. We
I'd love to.
we plan on having our youth ambassadors join us. Hopefully Sophia will join us. And then, again, we're just eventually, maybe us older people will transition a little bit further away.
My
And,
goal is to have Sophia sitting right here and me watching from that corner over there.
I don't know.
And have her surrounded by the rest of our
Yes.
youth ambassadors.
The
So
process has been started. I'm
has
so
been,
excited.
so we'll see who our next guest will be a surprise, but it will be
Yeah.
another young person.
All right, thanks for having me, guys.
Thank
you.
See ya.